Hello, and welcome to Week 1 assignment for in-depth exploration of organizational behavior, LDR811, or what I'd like to refer to as IDEOB, I-D-E-O-B for short. This is going to be a fairly short presentation on what you're needed to do for Week 1 assignment, but it'll also provide a little bit of background that you'll be able to apply to future week's assignments. So the process of submitting to Safe Assign, of getting your assignments in on time. This is kind of in a sense, sort of a dry run or a practice run for what will follow in the future weeks. As if I indicate as I go through what the assignment is, there's a lot of reading and not a lot of writing in Week 1, and that will soon change. So if you haven't seen me before, I'm Dr. Greg Parsons. I'm the instructor professor for this particular class. I hope you've all found your way into the classroom by now, and I look forward to hearing more from you in the upcoming weeks. Good luck. So here we are on Week 1 assignments, and you can see that you've got quite a bit of reading to do, but not a lot of writing to do. And because the assignment, the discussion post, is due on Wednesday, don't expect to read everything before you post your discussion. Part of the purpose of this video is to show you what you need to do that you'll be turning in for a grade this week, but also the fact that a lot of this week's time should be spent in starting to read the materials that are going to support the rest of the class. So once you're ready to go, you're going to click on the Week 1 discussion. This will bring you to this screen, and you'll see that you're going to be writing a discussion post primarily about yourself. This is kind of an introduction, a autobiography, if you will, and it describes some of the information that should be included within your post this time. Now, we'll be using Safe Assign for the draft and the final submission. So once you've finished writing your post, and I'll talk a little bit more about this on the next slide, once you've finished writing it and you're happy with what you've written, then you're going to submit it to Safe Assign, draft, review the results, make revisions if necessary, then submit it to Safe Assign Final, then take that draft and submit it, post it to the discussion post. Okay. So, assuming that you've gone through Safe Assign, and I assume that you've also watched the video on using Safe Assign, you've had it checked by Safe Assign, and now you're ready to post to the discussion thread for the week. You'll click on Week 1, then you'll come to this screen, and you're going to be clicking on the Create Thread, where the blue arrow is. That will bring you to this screen, and in the text section, this is where you're going to be copying and pasting your post for this week. Okay. Now, some people say, well, it's in a file form, shouldn't I just put it in as an attachment? It doesn't do me much good to your students who are going to be reading your post and responding to it to simply to have to open up a file. So I want to have it put into the text version of the discussion, so that everybody can see what you're writing and what my response and other students' responses are. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Write it up, use it in Word, submit it to Safe Assign, draft, get the results, make your revisions, submit it to Safe Assign Final, then copy it into the discussion thread here. Keys to success for this assignment on all your discussion assignments. Your initial post has to be in by Wednesday night to be considered on time. Your discussion post should have outside sources. Even though you're writing about yourself, it's always a good idea to use some outside information. It makes it sound better and look better. It should be a substantial contribution. We're not looking for 2 or 3 sentences here. We're looking for what would be considered a mini paper. I'm not going to say there's a minimum word length for this, but when you look at it, you should say, that took some work to write that. And you must use a scholarly writing style. Okay, so this should be considered almost like submitting a paper. Now, when you get to your response posts and you're writing to things that other people have written, here you can become less formal and more conversational. Right? I won't be grading the response posts the same way I'd be grading your initial posts. Also, you don't have to run your response posts through SafeAssign. However, everything should be spelled correctly. Appropriate grammar should be used. So even your response post should be probably written in Word and then checked at least for spelling and grammar. When it comes to your initial post, write it, then review it, then revise it, then review what you've revised and revise it again. The only way you're going to turn in professional, scholarly looking work is if you reread it, rewrite it, reread it, rewrite it until you think it's perfect. You're going to be using SafeAssign for all your written work, so you might as well start in week 1 with the discussions. If there's any questions about how to use SafeAssign, then contact me about that. I think I've tried to explain it, why we're doing it and what the results are, but everything has to be run through SafeAssign. I look at reports before I grade to make sure that it's been done, so that if you get a response back from me as you're not using SafeAssign, you're going to have to redo it. That's going to detract from your grade because that requires work on my part and you're not following the assignment. If there's questions about how to do it, it's your responsibility to ask me about it so I can explain it in more detail. Okay? So week 1, a lot of reading, not much writing. Good luck.